everybody. Welcome to Lady Vibe, your podcast for better well being. This is your co host, Dr. Ning. I hope you had a relaxing and fun holiday break. We just came back from a 10-day vacation in New York City. It was cold but fun until my younger son started having sore throat, cough, and high fever. I was a little worried when his fever did not come down after a day and a half. The fever, so I went to CVS and bought a testing kit, and he was tested positive for flu type B. The fever lasted for 2.5 days. I did not measure, but I think it was probably around 103, 104. Um, After the fever came down, his cough got really bad, and with the mucus in his chest, it was just like really horrible to watch. And he threw up multiple times and had little appetite until like 4 days after I came back home. So watching him suffer from the infection really made my heart hurt. I tried everything I could to comfort him, to make him comfortable, and also try to, prevent myself from getting sick. It was almost mission impossible because I was with him 100% of the time and I was taking care of him. He was breathing next to me in the night. So, uh, but luckily, my immune system really, kind of did not fail me, and I survived this episode of infection. So I have to confess that I did not get the flu vaccine for either myself or my kids this year. I'm an epidemiologist and I'm a strong advocate for vaccination. However, when it comes to seasonal flu vaccine, I never give it enough attention. I always thought that we would be the lucky ones who would escape the virus. So this is something that I regret the most this winter. I wish I had gotten the vaccine protection that my kids deserve earlier in the season so that they do not need to suffer from the infections. It did not kill them, but it definitely affected their life for over a week. Um, so after we came back, I found out that more than half of my friends, I think more than maybe like 3/3 of my friends and colleagues and their families across the country, from East Coast to West Coast, have experienced at least one episode of viral or bacterial infection during the past 2 months. From flu to COVID 19 to RSV to norovirus infections and to strep throat. Then I looked up the CDC surveillance reports and found that this flu season is deemed to be moderately severe, and it's the most severe since the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Um, and there's partially due to the occurrence of a new flu A variant, um, and it has especially hit children and teens hard. Um, Said that among all ED visits, like 20% of the visits among kids are due to and teens are due to flu-like illness. Um, there has been just so much misunderstanding and misinformation about these common infections. So I really felt the urge to dedicate our first episode in 2026 to helping our audiences to better protect themselves and their families from these common but could be severe and obnoxious infections. So I'm going to talk about some ways that things that we can do to prevent us from getting infection, and if we get it, it can also help minimize the symptoms and minimize the risk of getting complications. So I think most people know that if you have got like strep throat, although your throat could hurt as hell and you could not swallow anything, it's not that bad because we have effective treatment for strep throat. One course of antibiotics may cure the disease, and 24 hours after you use the antibiotics, you may not be infectious anymore. But you do need to get a confirmed diagnosis and start antibiotics as early as possible, um, to minimize the risk of infecting others around you. There are rapid strep testing kits available at almost every doctor's office and urgent care. So if your throat hurt really bad and your tonsils are swollen big time, and you even see like white spots on your tonsils, these may be signs of strep throat. So I would suggest you go see your doctor right away. Or nowadays there are even like fast testing kits for strep being sold in pharmacies, that you can get and get tested at home. So if it is positive for strep, um, go get antibiotics right away. But if you have got viral infections such as flu, COVID-19, or RSV, or norovirus, you the only thing you can count on is your immune system. You have to use your own immune system to fight off the germs. There's really no magic treatment for any of these infections. Um, although our medical science has been really advanced right now, there's just no effective like antiviral treatments for viral infections. So these virus, these infections happen so common, so people don't really, think they are serious. But from the data that we have seen, like they like combined like all these, the flu, RSV, COVID-19, and norovirus, they sicken millions of Americans each year, and thousands die, um, and even more. Like, and a lot of it caused a lot of hospitalizations and emergency room visits as well. So, but there are simple things that you can do to protect yourself and your families from these infections. For viruses that have effective vaccines available, getting timely vaccination will not only lower your chance of getting these infections, but also reduce the severity of illness and risk of complications once you contract them. To prevent flu infection and flu related hospitalizations, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention strongly recommends everyone over 6 months of age to get the seasonal flu vaccine every year at the beginning of each flu season. Usually it's late in the summer and early in the fall. Um, I will definitely follow this recommendation moving forward for my family, because it really does not worth the risk of getting the infection when there is effective um, preventive method. Um, I hope you do the same. So, but no vaccine is 100% effective, will prevent you from getting the disease. But the good thing is that after you get flu vaccine, even you get the infection, the course of infection is usually shortened, and your risk of getting hospitalized or getting other severe complications will be much smaller, especially among those patients with pre-existing conditions or young kids. Um, and also, there's another antiviral drug called Tamiflu, could also be effective if you use it within 48 hours of symptom onset. Symptom onset refer to when you first started having, sneezing and sore throat. Um, so usually, like people cannot get it on time. But if you can, at early stage, you test it and it's flu, um, and get Tamiflu right away, may help you um, relieve the symptoms and reduce the severity of the illness. But Tamiflu does have some side effects, such as causing nausea and vomiting among some people, especially young kids. But for high risk people, like the effectiveness always outweighs the harm. So still worth trying. And for RSV, there most people are not very familiar with RSV. It's respiratory syncytial virus that can cause severe infections among seniors and young kids, especially. Um, and the mortality rate among RSV infections is higher than flu infection. Um, there are multiple FDA approved RSV vaccines and one monoclonal antibody available for seniors 75 years and older or young adults with underlying conditions such as chronic heart or lung diseases or those who are immunocompromised, who are at high risk of getting severe RSV infections, and pregnant women between 32 to 36 weeks of gestation, and infants. So for pregnant women who will get RSV vaccine between 32 to 36 weeks, they can protect their newborn from getting RSV infections in the first year of their life. So if you're pregnant, check with your doctor, and the good news is that you just need to get one dose um, for your life. Like you do not need to get repeated doses in following years. So um, that's a good way to protect your kid, your newborn, and yourself. And for norovirus infection, there's no existing vaccine available because the virus just mutates so fast. Norovirus does not cause respiratory symptoms like flu, RSV, or COVID-19. It causes GI symptoms, causes acute gastroenteritis. The symptoms of norovirus infection um, is just a little bit different from like salmonella infection or E. coli infection. It 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 it, it mainly causes like nausea and vomiting, and some people report that the vomiting is really violent. Like you can constantly vomit. I remember like when I was um, working in the infectious disease department in Oregon, like my supervisor got one of my mentors got like norovirus infection, and it was like really violent, like vomiting constantly, like nonstop for like 24 hours. Um, and also some people have diarrhea, body ache, and some people may even have like low degree fever. Um, and norovirus, a lot of people also call it a winter flu, although it's not flu. Like it causes GI problem, and it's highly contagious, and it's not just transmitted through your like contaminated food or surfaces. It can also transmit it through aerosol. Like if someone vomits like within 10 feet of you and you stay there for an extended period of time, you can get it from the particles got into the air um, from that. Um, so it's the main cause um, of acute gastroenteritis outbreaks in the U.S. and across the world, um, in schools, nursing homes, cruise ships, and restaurants. During my 2 years working as an EIS officer at CDC, I investigated over 150 norovirus outbreaks in Oregon alone. So when someone gets a norovirus infection, try to stay at home. Don't go to school. Don't go to work, because your one vomit can cause the whole school or whole restaurant, the all guests in the restaurant sick. So it's just that contagious. So try to stay at home, um, and drink lots of water with electrolytes. Stay hydrated and try to isolate yourself from the rest of the family, especially when you vomit. And then for family members, you need to wear masks or and gloves when clean up the contaminated surfaces and linens. Um, you can use hot water, soapy water, or use diluted bleach water. Um, One thing to remember is that alcohol does not kill norovirus. Soap and water and bleach will. So those are things you want to use. That's why I like washing my hands with soap and water instead of using alcohol hand sanitizer, because it does not kill norovirus. And in addition to vaccines and that viral medications, like the best way to stay healthy is really to strengthen your own immune system. That is your best friend to fight infections and fight other diseases such as cancer. So, how to keep our immune system healthy and intact? Uh, we have touched on a lot of those components that we can do to keep our immune system healthy. I definitely don't recommend people to take all those, supplements out there that claims to boost your immune system. The best things are come from the natural things, natural food we eat, and some just general things that we can do easily in life. First, eat healthy food. We're going to continue the discussion about how to maintain healthy guts and eat, you know, uh, form a healthy eating habits um, this year. And in addition to eating healthy food, exercise regularly is very important. No matter what type of exercise you do, try to move and exercise regularly. And sleep well for 7 to 8 hours a day. Um, Minimize stress, get sufficient sun exposure. That will help boost vitamin D production. Um, and get fresh air into your rooms, because microbes in the fresh air can kill the pathogenic germs. And additionally, so all if you do all these things every day, um, you will have a much better immune system than many people, and that immune system is your ultimate like shield from any of these infections. So, and additionally, as I said, wash hands with soap and water often, especially before eating or after using the bathrooms. And when you need to sneeze or cough, cover your mouth with tissue or with your arm, called chicken wing in schools. Like, don't use your hands, because after you sneeze into your hand and it will touch others, your eyes and other places, you will help spread the germs. So if you do have your, pre-existing conditions or are immune compromised, um, or at high risk of getting infection, you do wear masks if you have to stay in a crowded indoor area for an extended period of time. Um, but you make the judgment. We did not really wear masks on the plane because I feel like we were not at high risk. I don't believe that my son got infection from the plane, but it is kind of alarming to hear so many people cough and so many people are traveling when they're sick. Yeah. Um, and wearing a mask is effective in preventing yourself spreading the germ and also preventing you from getting germs from other people. Um, I also want to correct one misconception about fever. A lot of people are scared of fever, especially when their kids have fever. So they'll try to use Tylenol, Advil, to like fever medication to lower the temperature. Um, so this may not help you fight the germs. Fever happens when there's foreign bodies, foreign germs getting to invade your body, and your body try to raise the temperature to mobilize your immune system and to fight the infections. So increase the temperature may slow down the growth and multiplication of the bacteria and virus and speed up your immune response. So it's okay to have fever. It's okay to have moderate to high fever for a certain period of time. But if, after 3 days, 4 days, it still does not come down and your symptom is getting worse, like you definitely want to see a doctor to rule out like bacterial infection or, you know, other complications as a result of the initial infection. And among young kids, sometimes like infants, high fevers can cause seizures. When that happens, you definitely want to lower the temperature. um, One time, like my older son got roseola, a viral infection among young kids. Um, he had like 104 to 105-degree fever for 5 days in a row. It was very, very scary. I did, but the doctor assured me that's just the presentation of the illness. I usually has high fever for extended period of time. Um, so I kind of just handled it. Like I held him in my arm most of the times because I had to watch him like all the time to make sure that he was okay. But I did not use fever medication for him, and he fought it off at the end. But it was scary. So um, I want to remind like young parents or people like fever is not scary. Let your immune system do the work. And but if your symptoms are getting worse, um, and that if the young kids have seizures, you need to seek medical attention and also use fever medication to lower the temperature. And there's another interesting thing is that like in Chinese culture, we believe that you need to when you have fever chills, like you're supposed to wear really like layers of clothes and then cover with like thick blankets, so that you can sweat, and the sweating will take away some of the heat and lower the temperature. But in Western culture, like the doctors usually suggest like taking a warm bath or like wear you're not wearing clothes or like wear light layer clothes so that you stay cool. Not that helps lower the temperature. I don't know which one's better. I have tried both uh, for my kids before, and I do not really notice a big difference there. I would like to hear your thoughts and experience with that. And there are also other ways, like you can rub the hands and feet with like wet cotton balls. And in China, sometimes people use alcohol as well to kind of help increase the blood flow and lower the temperature. Um, but I think in most cases alcohol is not recommended, especially for kids. Um, yeah, and for cough, the same. Like most people's intention is when they have cough, they want to use cough drops, they want to use cough medication to suppress the cough. But coughing is a way for the body to get rid of the dead tissues and the germs. Um, so if you suppress too much, it may slow down the recovery and the cleanup process. Um, but if the coughing is so bad it affects your sleep and normal breathing, you definitely want to take some cold medication and drink dark honey to help. Um, another thing that is proven to be effective in fighting viral infection is a large dose of vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. Um, so even in some of the analysis we did during the COVID infection, we did find that like vitamin D, vitamin C, or and zinc were associated with lower risk of like mortality among COVID in hospitalized COVID patients. Um, so that's my go-to usually. Um, when I'm exposed to a sick person or like I start feeling some uncomfortable, like a feeling like itchiness in my throat, or start sneezing, um, I use emergency, and this is not an advertisement. The emergency, it's a kind of a supplement that contains like uh, like large dose of vitamin C and D and zinc. Um, so just need to take one packet a day with water. Um, that has been helping me a lot. In getting away from the infections germs that my sons bring back from school. Um, so you can get like large package from like a Costco for like a much better price than getting from a regular pharmacy. If you cannot use it all, you can share it with friends. Like when I went back to China to see my parents, I brought back like multiple uh, boxes of emergency to share with families and friends. Um, and there are some other brands that also has similar ingredients that may also work. Um, so, but you have to use it early to prevent the infection from happening. Um, and another important thing is that when there's people in your household who get sick, um, do keep the fresh air in. If you're in cold areas, it's too cold to open the window all the time, but try to open um, for 10-20 minutes, like every other hour, something. Just keep the air circulating, so that can help kill the germs inside the house and reduce the risk of transmission to other people. Um, some like some doctors or people like recommend like cleaning the surfaces, like ex- except like norovirus infection. Like if it's just like respiratory infections, I don't think like cleaning up surfaces will help with anything. So have fresh air in may help kill the germs like more effectively. um So with that said, I really hope like you find this information helpful, and let's all stay healthy in 2026. Let us know if you have any effective measures to prevent and treat infections um, in the comments. Um, we would like to hear that. Um, yeah, and then we will talk more about different type of infections in the future episodes, um, because it's like really getting with all the misinformation about vaccines. I'm really expecting like a surge of how different type of infections in the US in the future. So we may cover that a little bit more in future episodes. And if there's any other topics that you're interested in, please let us know. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Bye.